Governments that followed stronger ties with Israel in region were under pressure in the midst of Gaza war. Bahrain confirmed that the increasing war in Gaza remembered his ambassador from Israel, who created a difficulty for regional governments following Israel, following a previous statement from Bahrain's lower parliamentary assembly. The government confirmed that its ambassador returned on Thursday and that the Israelis' ambassador in Manama was, some time ago, parliamentary organ, which has no authority in field of foreign policy, said that economic relations with Israel were broken in the early hours of day. The statement of government in Manama did not mention interruption of economic relations, although flights between two countries were temporarily suspended. The decision follows protests in Middle East for weeks in Middle East, where Israel's armament of besieged Gaza Strip was put under pressure with countries such as Bahrain. In the last few years, states such as Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco, United Arab Emirates have taken action to normalize ties and increase economic military cooperation with Israel. The agreements, known as the Abraham Agreements, were strongly encouraged by the U.S., who framed them as steps towards a more peaceful Middle East. Critics say they allow Israel to take advantage of more cooperation without dealing with the decades of Palestinian territory and by making agreements with autocratic governments. Following Morocco's agreement with Israel, United States recognized its autonomy in the Western Sahara for a long time in controversial region. Washington also removed Sudan from list of state sponsors after the normalization of vineyards, and at a time when he hit pro-democracy demonstrations and struggled with illegal inflation. He presented a lifeline to military government, as protesters climbed to streets of Palestinians and streets in Middle East. Contrast between public and desire of governments to benefit from larger ties has become sharper in last few weeks. In Bahrain, where protests were rarely tolerated, demonstrators marched to Israeli embassy, and activists called for reversal of normalization agreement. The war in Gaza also brought back to a possible normalization agreement between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Stephen Cook, senior member of the Middle East and African Studies at the Foreign Relations Council, said last month that this normalization dynamics will probably slow or stop